What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another Dragon Traveler video, and today I will be showing you guys how to play the beginner team, which is the Elemental Echo team, which most people are going to use even into the mid game, especially if you're free to play or a light spender. Support my channel by clicking my link in the description and joining me in Raid Shadow Legends. You'll get $200 worth of free rewards, including a legendary champ harvester right off the bat. Again, this supports me in the channel tons, so don't forget to click on that link right now. Now, back to the video. So the reason why most people play this faction at the start, it should be pretty obvious if you played quite a bit, is because the first dragon they give you is of this faction. It's the Elemental Echo Dragon, and also the characters that they throw at you are all going to be a part of this faction as well. Now, is it the best faction to use in the mid to late game? Probably not. You can still use it, but there's going to be better options. But the best part about this game is that characters will all have two factions. So if you don't want to play Elemental Echo anymore because you feel like it isn't as fun, or because it's just way too offensive and gets killed too easily, well, you can switch into the other factions for the characters you have built. The second faction most people go into is actually Arcane Wisdom, because you're going to see 5 of the characters I'm using on my team right now are actually part of the Arcane Wisdom team that you can run. So because of this, it just makes it very, very easy to switch over. But this is definitely the faction you want to use early, because you get a ton of these early game characters, right? You get Ifrit, which you're going to summon on. You have Oberon, which you get for free. You get Siegfried, which you get for free. If you spend $1, you get Fenrir, who's absolutely amazing and works in the Arcane comp as well. And you even get a really good free-to-play healer with the SR Siren, who's really, really good. And for that last slot, you can just slot in Melina, right? Melina's going to be great, even though she doesn't really synergize with your team too much. She does have morale, which can be decent for your team. If you guys don't have Fenrir as well, you can slot in, a lot of different characters. I used 4 Saints for a while until I actually got Fenrir, because I just caved in and spent $1. But there's a lot of other options that you can target from the wish list that will be used in the late game on a ton of different teams, right? You can use Anubis, which is going to be used in the red team, or you can use him in the green team later on with the Death Rattles. Very good. You can also use Golvig, the demigod. She's also insanely powerful. So, both good options as well. For an SR, Lorelyn's also amazing. And actually, I really, really need her for this team. So a lot of options you can slot in that are going to actually be able to be used in different teams to great effect, which makes this honestly the perfect beginner faction. Now, the way you want to play this faction is going to be pretty interesting. So the way it works is you really want to do these elemental reactions. So there's 3 different types, because there's 3 unique debuffs that you can use: Ignite, Shock, and Chill. And if you combine Ignite and Shock, you get Detonation. If you combine Ignite and Chill, you get Evaporation. And if you combine Chill and Shock, you can get Flash Freeze. And these all have different effects. The Detonation effect does the most damage. Evaporation and Flash Freeze do a lot less, but they have debuffs that they also apply, right? One will do reduce hit, which is good, and also reduce attack. All of these are good. Honestly, you're not going to really target any of them too much besides like Detonation to snipe stuff out. The other ones you're kind of just passively using. You'll also notice a lot of these characters will have special effects in their passive when you trigger these elemental reactions. So whenever you trigger that elemental reaction by combining 2 with Ifrit, you reduce the cost of her next overdrive, which is her AoE ultimate, which is very strong. Another good example is something like Siegfried, right? If you have anything that's inflicted with debuffs, she's just doing extra damage. So there's a lot of synergies that play around with it. Oberon's very good because she has Chill, right? Ifrit has the Ignite, but your dragon will also apply Ignite very easily. And if you're using Fenrir, she's very nice because she has Shock. So if you're bringing a 6th option that's not part of the faction, just try to bring one that has some of these debuffs so you can proc these elemental reactions a lot more easily, is what I recommend. So let's actually look at the dragons now, I guess the red dragon in particular. And the dragon is like the biggest reason why people like to switch off this comp. So the dragons will all buff the faction that they represent. So the red one represents Elemental Echo because it's red. And they also have a secondary effect, which has a cost on it, which is why they have like that cooldown in battle, right? So the red one is 3 cost to do an AoE attack that applies Ignite. Pretty good for chaining these attacks, right? But not the biggest impact, especially for the cost. You'll see that a lot of the other dragons have a lot better effects. The Arcane one only costs 2, and it's going to increase your overdrive energy recovery, which is insane. And also, you just do extra damage when you cast. The green one here has this self-healing effect increase, and will also give you healing that's AoE when you use it, which is insanely strong, right? The purple one is going to increase the cost of the next overdrives of enemies, right? You have the yellow one, which is also pretty good. It's going to give you an extra fervor buff, which is extra physical defense, magic defense, and damage amplification, which is going to be AoE. So this one's insanely strong as well. And you also have the death rattle team, because this is going to give your summons extra damage. This is pretty expensive, but this one's really strong. So the red one, I'm going to say has like the weakest effect. So that's why you want to switch off it. But for the early game, mid game, it's going to be good enough. So I'll show you guys in this story mode stage that I'm actually on right now, how I like to use this comp. So Oberon in the front to soak this assassin. I then am going to try to use my assassin here to hit something, but I actually can't. So in this situation, you would either want to match the assassin or honestly swap her out for a different character, but because we don't have that luxury, we are going to do something like this. And then what I'm going to do is have my Ifrit hit the front line here and Melina in the back. So nothing too crazy with the team comp, we're just blocking the assassin, but we can start the battle now. And we do need to use one ability to get our dragon skill up. So what I'm going to use here is Oberon's first. And then I'll dragon onto all of these, and this should proc the reaction, right? Which is going to be very good. You can see evaporation happens. Then I use my Ifrit ability here to do a ton of damage. And then what I can do is reset off this, do a ton of AoE damage as well. And I could reset off this with Fenrir, do a ton of AoE damage. And nothing to reset yet, but I'm going to use my Siegfried skill. And then I'll use my dragon skill. Didn't mean to just click it, but I guess that works. And it looks like there's nothing we can kill here. So I'm going to wait a bit. I'm going to use Ifrit's ability. And I believe I can probably snipe out the healer. Yeah, this should die here. We have another chance to do something. Oh, she died, which is okay. And what I'm going to do... Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this and snipe out. My dragon skill's up. And we can hit the front. I think that's way more important. Evaporation lands. You can see that they're hitting very, very slow. And then we do the dragon skill, or I guess the Ifrit skill once again. So, should win this. Our combat power was like a lot lower. But because you're chaining these elemental reactions, you are just able to kind of make these characters do no damage to you. Or you can just do a ton of damage. And honestly, Fenrir is so OP with this because she is sniping out stuff with her ultimate ability, and also because of the fact that her shock just procs the detonation with the ignite from the dragon, which does insane damage. But that is pretty much it for this video though, guys. This is the Elemento Echo team. Like I said, I know I'm using Fenrir, but you know, it's $1 and she makes it a hell of a lot easier. You could still beat it without her. You just have to wait a bit to match the combat level. She just allows you to kind of win fights at a much lower combat power level, as you saw. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Elemental Echo team, definitely the best one to use in the early game, especially if you're a low spender. For me, personally, I'm going to swap from this team and go for the blue team for Arcane Wisdom once I pull more heroes. But for now, this team is insanely good as well. And if you actually get Poseidon, Poseidon is insanely OP with this because you'll see all of her skills inflict chill. When you trigger elemental reactions, you instantly do damage, right? So yeah, just an insanely powerful character in this team. So if you can actually get her as a whale, or if you get lucky and get her early, well then you can see how strong she is in this comp as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys check out my link down below once again to get started in Raid Shadow Legends, and more importantly, support the channel, and I'll see you guys next video.